Welcome back to the Out of Bounds podcast. I am Charlie Caleri alongside
Gavin Williams.
And today we're going to be recapping Week 7 and predicting Week 8. But before that, Gavin, how are we feeling today?
Not feeling great today.
Yeah, me neither, Gavin.
No, it was not a great Week 7. One of the most sad Week 7s I think we've had here in the studio.
I think so, too. I mean, both of our teams losing. That was
to bad teams.
To terrible teams.
Yeah.
Pretty rough. Yeah, just not good. Let's just get right into it because we're both just going to be sad the whole episode. So let's just bypass it right now. So that Thursday night game, the Jaguars-Saints, Jaguars coming out with a 31-24 dub right there, improving to 5-2. They won 4 in a row. Gavin, what do you think about this one?
The Jags are hot and they remain hot, and I'm super excited for Trevor Lawrence and this Jaguars team. This team started out in London where they got that win over the Falcons. Won again in London, beat the Bills. Won last week, won this week. 4-game win streak. They were 1-2. They're 5-2 now. This Jaguars team is finally clicking on all cylinders. Their defense, even though they let up 24, still played a pretty good game, especially that fourth down with great coverage against Chris Olave in the end zone. I mean, the Jags are just rolling right now. I would not want to play the Jags if I'm any team in the NFL. They're probably one of the most hot teams in the NFL, especially with the Niners going down again and some teams getting some losses like the Lions as well. But don't sleep on this Jaguars team because they're coming after it. And Trevor Lawrence is looking more like Trevor Lawrence. 20 for 29, 204 yards and a touchdown. He was also the leading rusher with 59 yards. And he threw to his guy last year, Christian Kirk, ladies and gentlemen. He is not – they wrote him up, but he ain't right back. Let's just say it like that. 6 receptions, 90 yards, and one touchdown, not 100 touchdowns. That would have been crazy, though.
No, yeah, that would have been crazy. For the Saints side over here, Derek Carr threw the ball 55 times in this game. That's insane. Just barely getting over 300 yards with 301 yards, threw 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Kamara, leading receiver and rusher for this team this week, 62 rushing yards, 91 receiving yards. Saints offense just, I don't know, man. At points, it looks really, really good. At points, it just doesn't. Who knows now with whatever Chris Olave's got going on.
Yeah, he's speeding off because he's mad about having Derek Carr as a quarterback. Let's just say that.
Who knows what's going on over there in New Orleans. So this New Orleans team looked very promising, but right now it's just looking kind of bleak. But, I mean, if they can string some wins together, they're obviously going to be right back in the thick of it. So, and like you said, I mean, this Jags team, I think right now they're probably a top 3 team in the AFC. I don't really think you can dispute that. They're hot, and when teams get hot, especially when other teams aren't, especially the top teams in the AFC right now, you know, they stick out more than other teams. So keep watching out for the Jags here, because if they can just keep this going, I mean, they might be riding it to maybe the 2 seed this year, maybe the 1 seed. Who knows?
Yeah. And I'd be very ecstatic if they got the 1 seed.
That'd be crazy.
Awesome.
I mean, the 1 seed's maybe a little bit more of a long shot, but I mean, who knows at this point?
Yeah.
With everybody losing all these games. So
yeah, all they need is the Chiefs to lose one more, and
that's
they're
right.
right there.
Yeah.
So
they'll be right with them.
Yeah, moving on to the next game. First off, Charles, you're going to start us off with the Falcons and the Bucs.
Yeah, and I mean, I picked the Falcons to win this game over the Bucs. This is one of our swing games here this week. And a massive swing game for both of these teams right here. Falcons coming out with a dub, 16-13, improving to 4-3. Bucs falling to 3-3 now. They're back. They're back, folks. I mean, this Bucs team, this is what we expected from them. They've lost 2 in a row now. Baker's falling back to earth slowly. I don't know, man. Both these teams don't look great. It's the Falcons keep putting out these 3-point wins, I feel like, every other week. And then that off week, they're losing by 20. Their offense keeps going back and forth. I don't know if Desmond Ritter's a good quarterback or not. This week, he went 19 for 25, 250 yards. Tyler Algier once again leads the team in rushing with 59 rushing yards. And Drake London having himself a good stretch of games here, 6 receptions, 54 yards right there. The other side of it, Baker, 275 yards. Mike Evans, also a really good stretch for him right now. 6 receptions, 82 yards, and a touchdown. This division, we keep saying it's really, really close, and these teams just keep battling. These divisional games are going to be really tough in the NFC South.
Yeah, absolutely. Big win there for the Falcons as we move on to an NFC North team coming out on top against a AFC West team.
Surprisingly, honestly.
Yeah. So the Chicago Bears beat the Raiders 30-12. It was not a close game the whole game. Tyson Bagent, or whatever his name is.
Bagnet?
Bagnet.
I don't know.
I like Bagnet better.
Bagnet? We'll go with Bagnet.
It's probably not.
Yeah.
And I'm probably butchering it, but that's what happens if you're backup in the NFL and we've never heard your name before. D2 college guy. Well, hey.
Shepherd.
D2,
The Shepherd Rams. That was his team.
Yeah, D2 college guy put up a pretty decent game, 21 for 29, 162 yards, and 1 touchdown. But the story of this game was Deonta Foreman. Wow, fantasy owners were ecstatic this week on the waiver wire. 16 carries, 89 yards, 2 touchdowns. Here we go, Deonta Foreman.
Here we go, Deontay Foreman.
So the leading receiver was DJ Moore. No surprise there. Only had 8 catches for 54 yards, so not a crazy stat line. Moving on to the Raiders side of the ball, Brian Hoyer starts his first game this year and has just an absolute trash game. 17 for 32. Why are we throwing the ball 32 times
with Brian Hoyer
when you have Josh Jacobs
Yeah.
in the backfield?
And that's just incredible to me. You have a top 5 running back in the league, top 3 running back in the league, and you're not handing him the ball?
It's just because, in my opinion, I think because Devontae wants out, now they're just going to force him the ball. And this is how they're going to lose games for the rest of the year. If they're not going to change the way that Devontae's getting all selfish, then they're just going to lose games. And he only had 7 receptions for 57 yards, and Josh Jacobs only had 11 touches in this game. This is crazy. The Raiders gotta start about thinking about tanking this one. They had a cool game against Packers. It looked like they might be not a playoff team, but a little mediocre, surprise some teams, but absolutely not if you can't beat the Chicago Bears backup quarterback.
Yeah, and something I want to point out for the Raiders here is that, I mean, they win this game, obviously. I mean, say they win this game against the Bears, who are obviously the worst team in this game. They're 4-3. They're sitting at the 8 seed or 7 seed, or the 8 seed right now behind the Buffalo Bills. But right now they're sitting at 12. So they could either be at 4-3 and tied with the Bills in the standings, or they could be behind all of these other teams in the AFC who now they have to chase. So that one game right there, we might look back and be like, all right, that was their trap game. They lost it. That might lose them the playoffs or playoff contention.
I think it will.
And I think it's going to spiral them out of control.
Yeah, and I'm not going to lie. I do hope they go out of control because I think they need a quarterback in that building, especially Jimmy G's not going to get it done in Vegas. This Brian Hoyer, you think Brian Hoyer is going to get it done?
No chance.
Absolutely not. They need a franchise quarterback. They got to start from scratch, whether that's getting Caleb Williams, Drake May, Bo Nix, who knows. We'll see what they can get. Bad loss for the Raiders and a good win for the Bears, though. I'm a Packers fan, but hey, respect is respect. Good win for the Bears.
Definitely a better win for the Bears than a bad loss for the Raiders, I think, there. Probably the best game of the week right now. The Browns beat the Colts 39-38. Who would have thought both these teams would have put up nearly 40 points?
Not me.
Browns now 4-2. 4-2 for the Cleveland Browns. I mean, with all the injuries that they've had,
I'm hyped for them.
I mean, they need some more credit here, folks. I mean, P.J. Walker coming in, beating the Niners last week, game-winning drive, and then coming this week, beating the Colts. I mean, in Indy. It's tough. I mean, I don't care who you're playing. If you're beating up on these teams and you're a backup quarterback in this league.
Yeah, especially with Deshaun going down in this game, too.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, P.J. Walker, 178 yards. He threw a pick, but it's okay. They still won the game. Jerome Ford, he has been unreal for this Cleveland Browns team. Ever since Nick Chubb went down, they needed somebody to step up, and he did it right away. The next play, basically, in that game where Nick Chubb went down. Elijah Moore kind of have a little bit of a breakout game here, 4 receptions for about 60 yards. On the other side for the Colts, really good offensive game for Gardner Minshew. Just didn't have enough. I mean, it was really tough to watch because the Colts felt like they were going to win this game the whole time, and it just not the whole time, most of the second half, I'll say. And it kind of just fell apart for them. They were up, Michael Pittman took a 75-yard pass to the house from Minshew late in the fourth with about 5 minutes left, and then Kareem Hunt scoring that touchdown with 15 seconds left sealed the game for the Browns.
Yeah, you also wonder to think what this Colts team for the rest of the season, what they would look like with Anthony Richardson in there. I mean, obviously Gardner Minshew's filling in his job. He's doing it right.
Yeah, I mean, I think they would obviously be better if Richardson was in there. They're 3-4 right now. They're still in the hunt though
Yeah,
for the
they're-
playoffs.
they're not-
They're right in the
yeah.
thick of it. I mean, like I said, the Raiders are the 12th seed. The Colts are the 11th seed. They're 3-4. So they're only a game behind the Bills, which is crazy to think, but that's just where we're at right now. Touching the Bills a little bit later. But, I mean, this Colts team's still in the thick of it. I don't think they should tank. I really don't think anybody should be tanking this year because everybody is just kind of injured and mid this year. It's kind of crazy.
Caleb Williams wants partial ownership of the team that drafts him, which is just
Questionable.
unbelievable.
Questionable
Come on.
call right there. Maybe he's trying to tank his draft stock.
Maybe he is.
Who knows?
Maybe
what
he's just trying to
do.
be put on a good team. I don't know.
Yeah, that is
Because he's
true.
trying everything possible.
We don't
with
see that
everything
much in
coming
the NFL. We don't see
No.
players.
Guys
try
want to
like,
go number one.
Yeah,
They want that money.
they do, but they don't want to go to a bad team. I
Yeah.
mean, he knows he's going to get his money anyway. He's
That's
making
true.
more right now in college than he would be probably making in the NFL.
Probably.
So, I mean, with that being said, though, Browns pull out this dub, 39-38 over the Colts. Next game here, we got Commanders, Giants. Commanders, I don't know, man. They're just such a weird team. They're 3-4 right now. They only put up 7 points. They lost 14-7 against the New York Giants. How do you let the Giants beat you in this game? I don't know. But Tyrod Taylor, my guy, Bills legend Tyrod Taylor, leading the Giants to a win. 2 touchdowns, 279 yards passing. Another great game from Darren Waller. He had just under 100 yards. The other side, Terry McLaurin, another great game. 6 receptions, 90 yards. Definitely one of the most underrated receivers in the NFL right now, probably over the last few seasons. Sam Howell, I don't know if he's good or not. I really don't know. I get stuck with him every single week, just kind of like Desmond Ridder. But I do think Sam Howell's a better quarterback than Desmond Ridder, but
I do too.
not by much.
No.
It's really not by much. They're both kind of just mid, maybe.
They're both just second round draft picks. That's all they are.
I don't really know, but I want to figure out a stance on this guy. I just can't. I don't really have one. So this was a rough game to watch. Seriously, it was not fun to watch. There's only 3 scores the whole game, and they were both in the second and third quarter. So there's not really much more to say about this game. It was just an ugly game. 2 pretty mid teams going at it, and somehow the New York Giants won this game.
Just want to point out an interesting stat that I saw on an ESPN graphic or SportsCenter, either or. Daniel Jones, 2 touchdowns this season. Tyrod Taylor, 2 touchdowns in that one game.
Do you think the Giants turned away from Daniel Jones?
I was telling my friend this. Daniel Jones is a problem, and if people don't see it now, then they're crazy.
You think Daniel Jones is the problem?
I do.
Yeah?
I do. And
Wow.
I know their O-line, absolute nothing but garbage.
Yes.
Flaming dog poop on a front step.
Yep.
I know
agree.
they're bad.
Yep. They are terrible.
But they're playing much better when Tyrod's in the backfield. Maybe that's a little.
Maybe they just
veteran
care about
boost.
Tyrod more. I mean, simple as that. I mean, it does go a long way. I think. I mean, maybe that's something to be said about what's going on in the locker room there. I don't know if it's just a fluke that maybe it's when Tyrod's in there playing better, or they're just maybe getting a little bit better week by week. But who knows? This Giants team, they need to figure some stuff out still. But this is a good step in the right direction. Obviously, winning a game here, but 2-5. I mean, they still have a slight chance to sneak into the playoffs, maybe, but they got to string some wins together, and it's got to be right now.
Yeah, and especially with the Giants. I mean, I'm really proud of Tyrod. I'm a big Tyrod guy.
Me too.
Grew up
obviously.
watching him.
Yeah,
Like, just seeing Tyrod Taylor pulling out some wins.
it's fun.
Or pull out a win. Almost pulled out a win last
Yep.
week. Just awesome to see Tyrod Taylor pick up where he left off.
Yeah, and I mean, he could definitely do it again next week. They're playing the Jets next week.
Yeah.
That's also another wide open game. So I'll be rooting for the Giants probably in that game.
Makes sense.
Obviously playing a divisional opponent, but for Tyrod's sake too, he's one of my favorite players probably ever. I don't know. I'm not even kidding. I mean,
Yeah.
he was my quarterback when I was growing up. So I don't know. I have a sentimental spot in my heart for Tyrod
Let's go,
Taylor.
Tyrod.
Yeah,
We're
let's go,
rooting for
Tyrod.
you from the
Let's
Out
go,
of Bounds
Tyrod.
podcast.
Yeah.
We're rooting for you.
We got you, Tyrod.
We got your back. Moving on to what was supposed to be the game of the week that absolutely was not.
Not at all,
NOT.
Gavin. Not at all.
Wow. 38-6, Ravens stomp the Detroit Lions.
And I'm sorry, folks, because we told you to get your popcorn ready, and you might as well just burnt that popcorn.
That was probably burnt,
Yeah.
stale,
Yeah,
or anything but great popcorn.
not good popcorn. No butter on it.
No.
No salt.
Unsalted, unbuttered. Not
bear popcorn, but it was burnt.
but it was burned.
That was this game in a nutshell.
38-6. Lamar Jackson looking good again. 21 for 27, 357 yards with 3 touchdowns. That's a Lamar Jackson stat I can believe.
Yeah, I mean, he looked really good in this game. Obviously, I mean, they put up that many points. You know, your quarterback's got to probably have a really good game. So, good for Lamar getting back on track here. He's been looking like he should be one of the MVP candidates this year.
Yeah, he's had a couple good games, couple bad games. And Gus Edwards, he's filling in his role for J.K. Dobbins. I mean, 14 carries, 64 yards, 1 touchdown, which was a cool touchdown, by the way. And also the leading receiver of this team with 1 catch,
I did
80
not
yards.
know that. I didn't know that. Well, I
That's
guess
a
for the
stat.
yards, yeah.
That's just unbelievable. And Mark Andrews looking good in this game as well. But something for the Detroit Lions. I'm going to tell you some stats, Charles. Tell me if this makes sense for this team to have 6 points. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 13 receptions and 102 yards. Jahmyr Gibbs, 11 carries, 68 yards and a touchdown. And Jared Goff, 284 yards. Would you think they scored 6 points?
No, I mean, not at all. I mean, Amon-Ra putting up over 100 right there was an instant thought. How many receptions do you have? 12, you said?
13.
13? I mean, that's insane. Most guys don't even get that in 2 weeks. So him getting that one game is crazy. I would assume they would have had probably around 30. You know, it would have been a game like
Maybe 20,
maybe like
24.
the Browns-Colts game. It would
Yeah.
have been something like that. So, I mean, it's at least maybe a bright side to know that they're getting yards. They just can't capitalize on the points.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm trying to play devil's advocate here, I guess, for the Lions fans, but that
You're an NFC team.
game was rough. That game was rough.
Jared Goff also had an interception, but that was a big win for the Ravens team as they improved to 5-2, sniffing that 1 seed
They look
too.
scary right now. They look really scary right now.
The Ravens and the Jags sniffing around. They're under the surface and they're climbing.
They are.
And they
for
are
sure.
climbing.
For sure.
Great win for the Ravens here. Bad loss for the Lions is last week I want to apologize to all NFL fans when I said the Lions were the number one team in the country. I want to apologize to everybody because that was probably the hottest and the worst take I think I've ever had on the podcast. That was horrible.
Yeah, I was going to actually mention that to you, Gavin. I was going to make sure you addressed that today because that was a rough look. That was a rough look. But even rougher look is the Buffalo Bills going into Foxborough and losing by 4 points. 29-25 was the score of this game. And, I mean, there's really nothing I can say about this team right now. I mean, we're 4-3. We have a winning record. I'm not going to say the season's over, but this loss just was the biggest punch in the gut of all time. I mean, it's not even that this is just a terrible team. It's a terrible team that we hate. Terrible team that we hate. Divisional opponent. We're 1-2 against the division, and our one win is against the best team, maybe in football. Top 3 team in football.
Yeah,
I'll
I agree.
say.
Yeah.
Yeah, top 3 team in football. I'll change my mind on that a little bit. But, I mean, simple as that. You can't let up that drive at the end of that game. You can't let Gesicki score 12 seconds left. You can't go down 22-10 in the first place. You know, that's something that we can't be doing. This team doesn't look like they have energy. They don't look like they want to be there. They don't look like they want to win. They don't look like they want to do anything except lose games right now. And it's really tough to watch. We got to regroup, quick turnaround for Thursday. If we don't win Thursday against this Bucs team, it's over. It's really over. I'm not going to lie. It's not looking good right now for the Bills. Josh Allen this game, 265 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. That pick was terrible. It was right at the guy. James Cook, another pretty solid game, 13 carries for 56 yards.
I just want to interrupt real quick. You said right at that guy. That guy was your guy at one point, Jabril Peppers, Michigan legend. Just want to point that out.
Yeah, I know.
You said that guy.
I know.
You have to show respect
I knew which guy
to your man.
I knew which guy it was.
All right. Return.
Our leading receiver in this game was not Stephon Diggs. It was Dalton Kincaid.
By the way, great fantasy week for him. I started him. Have a day.
8 receptions, 75 yards. Even though Diggs did have another pretty solid game. Even though it was kind of slower at the start, kind of picked up. That's another bright side of this game. At least some of our skill position guys are getting involved. Mac Jones on the other side, he actually looked pretty good. I'm not going to lie. Our defense didn't look great, but he was taking advantage of what we were giving him. So can't fault him for that. That's what an NFL quarterback does. Simple as that. So he went 25 for 30, only 5 incompletions in that game. Cannot happen. 272 yards and 2 touchdowns. He hasn't done that all year, and he just does it against us. I don't understand what's going on. Ramondre Stevenson, 9 carries, 34 yards. Kendrick Bourne was their leading receiver. Who even is that? 6 receptions, 63 yards, and a touchdown. This was just terrible, folks. I don't know what else to say. We need to regroup, win on Thursday. If we don't win Thursday, this season's not looking like we're going anywhere.
Yeah, very true. Something that I want to point out about the Bills game, really quick. You have to think about a famous quote right now, Charles. You have to think about a famous quote.
What was the famous quote, Gavin?
"Fight on, my men," Sir Andrew said. "I am hurt, but yet not slain. I'll just lay down and bleed a while, and then I'll rise and fight again." Marv Levy said that to the Buffalo Bills after they lost to the Giants. This is no Super Bowl.
Not at all.
But you got to bleed a little bit so that you can see what type's your blood.
I mean, you
is it
gotta,
O negative?
you got to go.
That's a bad metaphor, but you guys just got to find it again.
You got to go through the bumps and bruises to make it over the humps. I mean, that's simple as that.
Coach Kramer, thank you for that quote.
Yeah.
I use it every day.
Yeah, Marv, inspirational right there, and thank you for that, Gavin. It's a good reminder right there for all Bills fans, all fans of teams that lost this week. It's just a good reminder for everybody.
Especially my team, but we'll get back to them in a little bit. But speaking about a team who had a win, not a great win at all. The Seattle Seahawks won 20-10 against the Arizona Cardinals. This Cardinals team, man, they are not giving up no matter what. I know they're 1-6, and their only one win was a great win.
They're the best 1-6 team I've ever seen.
Absolutely. On the stat sheet, 1-6, I'm like, wow, this team's god awful. But god dang it, this team is staying in every game, I think.
Yeah, and I respect them so much because they go in every game, and I see they have the heart that I think every team wants to have. This reminds me of maybe, not as good of a team, but maybe that first Lions team with Dan Campbell.
Or even last year with Dan Campbell.
Yeah, even last year with Dan Campbell, just obviously a worse version. They just have heart. I don't want to say their coach is as good as Dan Campbell or as energetic as him. MCDC, that's my guy. But this team shows heart. They really do. And it stems down from Josh Dobbs, too.
Yeah, absolutely. So Josh Dobbs, speaking of, 19 for 33. I love that they're throwing the ball with him. I mean, he's not completing every pass. The fact that they're being aggressive, though, makes me super hyped. 146 yards for him. Amari DeMercado had 13 carries for 58 yards. And Marquise Brown, or Hollywood Brown, had 3 receptions for 49 yards. Not great. But let's just talk about one man for the Seahawks. Bobo. What an awesome last name, first off.
Where did he come from?
Nowhere. The Seahawks are... I feel like every year they find this one guy under the surface, they pick him up, they throw him in. Has one of the craziest toe taps I've ever seen in my life.
I mean, Bobo. He started last week. He got his first touchdown last week. This week, coming back, playing another really, really good game. They need more weapons?
I mean, I don't even know because Jackson Smith-Njigba still had 63 yards and a touchdown. Kenneth Walker, my guy. K9, baby. Love you forever. 26 yards, 105 yards. I love that man. Every single week I love watching him suit up and play, ball his brains out. Not in the sad way, in the football way. And then Geno Smith, not looking good. He's looking like a mid-Geno Smith that we always knew. I feel like he's writing back a little bit now.
Yeah, he's starting to write a little bit of a sentence right there.
Yeah.
Hope he erases it, though. I hope he erases the sentence.
He has almost everything. He has a subject. He has a verb. Yep. He doesn't have the object yet.
No object, though. No object.
So he had 18 completions for 24, 219 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Not a great win, but hey, it still counts in the stat sheet for a win. So Seahawks moved to 4-2 as they're climbing a little bit as the Niners lost this week, which we'll get to a little bit later.
Another team climbing right now, also improving to 4-2, is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Surprisingly, that many people are shocked about. They won 24-17 over the 3-4 LA Rams. And Kenny Pickett, this was a pretty solid game for the kid. 17 for 25, 230 yards. It's a better stat line than what he's been putting up. So, I mean, I guess Steelers fans will take that. Najee Harris showing up a little bit.
What
in
a
this
celebration,
game.
by the way. That was awesome.
53 yards in this game. He had that touchdown. George Pickens, man, he is becoming one of the must-watch NFL players. Every week, this dude's making insane catches. He's going off.
And I want you, when you're watching the Steelers, to stand in front of that TV just like George Pickens when he was getting drafted.
Exactly. Yeah,
He's got to sit there. You got to nod your head. You got to pump out the stomach a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You have to enjoy what you're watching if you're a Steelers fan.
That's right. He had 5 receptions for 107 yards. And the other side, Matt Stafford, I mean, another kind of – I don't know how he's putting up all these yards. He put up 231 passing yards on 14 completions. I mean, they're pushing the ball down the field a lot. He threw a touchdown, 1 pick. Royce Freeman getting back in the mix here for the L.A. Rams. Good to see him back on the field after a few years of kind of just being a second, third string. 12 carries for him, 66 yards. And Puka, he's back. 8 receptions, 154 yards.
I love that, man.
Yeah. I mean, he's electric to watch.
Just
like
hearing his
Bobo.
name.
Kind of just like Bobo.
These rookies
I mean,
with the cool names.
Yeah.
What is better than football than listening to a guy receive a catch and the announcer says, "Oh, it's caught by Puka Nacua."
Yeah, where else would you hear that?
Come on.
Yeah.
Or by Bobo.
Or Bobo.
Come
yeah.
on.
And
This
it's
is awesome.
B-O-B-O. It's not even like anything.
No, it's
Yeah.
just street. It's
it's awesome.
straight B-O-B-O, but not the smelly kind, the Bobo kind.
Good game from Tutu Atwell as well. In this game, he caught a touchdown, 31-yard touchdown pass. The Rams released Brett Maher, their kicker.
Deservedly.
Yeah, he was bad with the Cowboys. I want to say he was terrible with the Cowboys, but he
was bad.
He was bad with the Cowboys. He wasn't great for the Rams this year, so I think they signed a guy off of the Browns practice squad, I believe. He used to be a former Colts kicker.
There it
I don't know
goes.
his name. It was something crazy. But he's their kicker now. Maybe they'll figure something out. They got to start winning some games, though. 3-4, kind of falling behind in those wild card standings. They're now the 9 seed behind the Vikings. Not great.
Yeah.
Not great. So, they're going to have to start turning up a little bit here.
Yeah, absolutely. So speaking about a team who is turning up a little bit and who is right now the number 1 team in the NFL, the Kansas City Chiefs getting a division win over the Los Angeles Chargers. My AFC team falls this week to 2-4 and was just not a great game from the Chargers. They were in it for a while until that fourth quarter, which is really awesome for Chargers fans to really think that they're keeping up with these good teams, but they're also losing to some of these bad teams. It's horrible to think about it like that, but Justin Herbert, good stat sheet except for the picks that he threw 2 of them, but he had 17 for 30, 259 yards and a touchdown. Joshua Kelly, 7 carries, 75 yards and a touchdown. When are we going to see Austin Eckler back in this offense? That's the biggest question I have to ask with all Chargers. You have to play a top 2 running back in the whole league. You have to play him. I mean, he's a dual threat running back, which there's not a lot of anymore. You have to play him. Anyways, Joshua Palmer, 5 receptions, 133 yards. The Joshuas are getting it done for LA, but they just can't find the end zone enough. But Kansas City Chiefs, Taylor Swift was in Arrowhead, but neither of us care.
Nope. She was doing that little handshake, though. You see that with Brittany Mahomes.
And Jackson
Jackson
Mahomes
got in that,
Yep.
too, yeah. That's our Taylor Swift for the whole episode right there. That's our whole Taylor Swift segment.
But then again, like we said, we do not care.
We do not care.
Getting back after it, Patrick Mahomes, wow, this guy's amazing. Must-see TV, 32 for 42, 424 yards, 4 touchdowns. Had a pick, though. Isaiah Pacheco, only 32 yards with 13 carries, but the man of the hour, the man who's dating someone that we don't like to talk about, Travis Kelce, 12 receptions, 179 yards. That's crazy that I'm speaking that a tight end is still getting that many yards. Travis Kelce, generational.
How have we not figured out how to cover this guy?
It's just like Tyreek. Both of those guys.
Unreal. I mean, he's not fast. He doesn't have
He's agile.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what he gets open. Simple as that. I mean, he just gets open.
So a lot of Bills fans like to say 17 plus 14 equals 6, but the real equation is 15 plus 87. Because, wow.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. That's a crazy shot right there. The Bills right there, Gavin.
I'm just playing around, Bills
yeah.
fans. Don't hate me because
we didn't need that
I support him every week. raised by Bills fans, especially my father. Shout out to our CFO.
Shout out to our CFO, Scotty Williams. Shout out to our executive producer, Frank Cleary.
Gotta love the dads.
Gotta love the dads right there.
But yeah, the Chiefs getting up 6-1 now. They're sniffing that first seed, and they're in it right now. They're going for the Super Bowl, and we can see it right now.
For sure.
When teams are going down, they're going up. They only lost week 1. They've won 6 in a row. Very impressive from the Chiefs. They look to keep it going this week against a horrible team and divisional team. So we'll get into that a little bit later. But moving on to a game I didn't want to talk about today. My Green Bay Packers losing to the Denver Broncos. Wow. Just saying that, I still can't believe it. Number one question I really have to ask. What Jordan Love are we going to see next? Are we going to see first half Jordan Love where he can't put a ball in the end zone or can't put the ball in his running back's hand? Or are we going to see third quarter, maybe a little first 5 minutes of fourth quarter Jordan Love, where he had most of these stats that I will read? 21 for 31, 180 yards, 2 touchdowns. Okay, that was cute. But that interception on the last play of the game for the Packers. 2 back-to-back weeks, except we had a bye. So 2 back-to-back games having a game-losing interception. We have to be better with our decision-making, especially with the replay of both games. There's a wide-open man at the first down marker both times. Worry about getting the first down first, then look flashy.
That's something that I think you can notice with young quarterbacks. Maybe they just look to the first read and just, give it to that guy right away instead of actually looking across the field and throwing to maybe their second or third read. So I guess Jordan Love's just got to get a little bit better at that. Maybe just gain a little bit more awareness in the pocket. But I wouldn't say he looks terrible right now. I think it's just,
No, he doesn't look terrible.
I think it's just
first half he does look
I think
terrible,
it's just bad timing where things aren't clicking for the Packers right now.
Yeah, especially coming up this week. They must click this week. But A.J. Dillon, have a day. Great game from A.J. Dillon. This is a game where it kind of gave me a little hint of the NFC Championship against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers where he's carrying guys on his back just to get 6 yards. Very proud of that man who didn't step up in that Raiders game, but was the leading rusher and receiver, surprisingly. 15 carries, 61 yards, and 2 receptions for 34. If A.J. Dillon is our leading receiver, you got to know that there's something wrong here. Anyways, a lot of injuries for the Packers. Not as bad as the Bills, but got to get healthy. But the biggest thing is I can't be mad about this because this isn't our Super Bowl year. There's going to be growing pains. And moving on, because I rambled on way too much about that, the Denver Broncos getting a pretty good win over the Packers. Russell Wilson, 194 yards on 20 completions with a touchdown. Javonte Williams, I love that man. 15 carries, 82 yards. And Cortland Sutton's picking up, once again, 6 receptions, 76 yards, and a touchdown. Final score of this one, 19-17. Broncos improved to 2-5, and the Packers moved down to 2-4. And now they're down third in the NFC North with a must-win coming up this week.
Yeah, and just like you mentioned, that was a big win for the Broncos because I'm not saying they're going to make the playoffs at all. I'm not saying that at all. But now they're 2-5, and at least they have a shot. They're the worst team in the AFC, record-wise, tiebreaker-wise, but they're only a game and a half out with the playoffs right now. Maybe 2.5. I don't really know if my math's adding up there, but 2 games. Exactly. Sorry. They're 2 games out of the playoffs, which is still
crazy.
Not great, but it's
Doable.
crazy to think there's only 2 games in between the Bills and the Broncos right now, with the Bills being the 7th seed. So something to look at there.
Yeah, absolutely. So moving on to what we thought was going to be another game of the week that wasn't, had some implications of home refs, but that's not enough because the Eagles still won 31-17 as the Eagles get a great bounce-back victory against a top 3 team in the AFC, beating the Miami Dolphins. Absolutely great game from the Eagles. Looking at Jalen Hurts, didn't have the best game, but had a winning game. 23 for 31, 279 yards, 2 touchdowns. but he cannot get off that pick stat sheet yet. When are we going to see a game where Jalen Hurts cannot throw a pick? We've seen it earlier this season. Just wondering when we can get back to it. A.J. Brown, man, I'm so glad this guy is on my fantasy team.
He looks so good right now.
10 receptions, 137 yards, and a touchdown. DeAndre Swift had 15 carries for 62 yards, but this Eagles offense is clicking on all cylinders. They only had one hiccup this year, only one.
Yeah, and I mean their defense too. It's not easy to only only let up 17 points against that Miami offense, especially with just how creative they are. But this game, the Dolphins were losing only by 7 at half. It was 17-10. They tied it up with 4 minutes left in the third, and then Eagles pull away with their last 2 touchdowns. Dolphins, they had a pretty decent game. This is a game where you can look back and be like, all right, that was a good game. We can definitely build on that. That's okay for a loss right there. That's an okay game to lose right there if you're the Dolphins. But obviously you don't want to lose any game. With that being said, Tua, 216 yards that game. It was just a solid game overall for the Dolphins offense. Wasn't anything crazy. Tyreek with 11 catches for 88 yards and a touchdown. Pretty normal stat line for him, which is also crazy. Raheem Mostert, 9 carries, 45 yards. It was just a game for the Dolphins. It was kind of just one of those where it went out there. If they won, they won. It was tough going into Philly, playing them, especially on Sunday night.
Kelly Green.
The Kelly Green jerseys, you're right.
They looked amazing.
So good.
Amazing.
We've touched on those a little bit in the past. Check out Season 1, Episode 8 if you want to hear our thoughts on that. Just the uniform matchup was great in general, but that's besides the point. Eagles got the dub in this one. They improved to 6-1. This could be a potential Super Bowl preview.
You never know.
Really could be.
Yeah.
And I hate saying that because it's the Dolphins, but it's definitely possible.
If the Dolphins can shake this loss off like they shook the Bills' loss off, maybe they can come back. But right now you have to ask yourself, the Dolphins 5-2. Those 2 teams, they lost to 2 great NFL teams. When are they going to be in a great NFL team?
Yeah, I was going to say that their 2 losses are to the Eagles and Bills, which you're probably fine with, those being the 2 losses. But at the same time, you got to say, let's pull out one of those wins, I don't know the Dolphins' schedule exactly, but I think they play the Chiefs, and I'm pretty sure it's in Germany, right?
Yeah. I know it's in Europe, 9:30 start.
So that's a game where the Dolphins got to have circled in the calendar and say that's a game we have to win, especially because that game could be for the 1 seed in the AFC. So that's something to note right there.
Yeah, 3 5-2 teams and 1 6-1 team for the AFC. I mean, looking at the Chiefs 6-1, now looking at the Jags, looking at the Dolphins, and looking at the Ravens, they're all division leaders right now. That's the 1 through 4.
Yeah, we usually don't see that.
No.
It's usually the 4th seed is lower, kind of like in the NFC right now. How you got the Falcons at 4-3, and the 5 seed being the Seahawks at 4-2. So it's kind of you don't usually see it going right down the board there, but it's kind of cool actually to see just the standings in their normal order.
Yeah, absolutely. But something that will shake up the standings. The San Francisco 49ers could not string a win out against the Minnesota Vikings. So the Minnesota Vikings won this game 22-17. They moved to 3-4. The Niners dropped 2 in a row, so they went from 5-0. They're 5-2 now. And this is a game where we're really going to start to wonder and think to ourselves, was this the Brock Purdy we were supposed to see last year?
I don't know. I really don't know because, I think he's coming back down to earth a little bit. But with that being said, really the only bad part about this game for Brock Purdy was those 2 picks.
Yeah, exactly.
Other than that, he played really well.
Yes. Yeah.
So, and I think one of their problems was that McCaffrey wasn't really getting going. I think he played every offensive snap or something crazy like that. Yeah. Or he only missed 1 or 2. I know in the third quarter they listed or said that he played every snap so far, which is just insane. George Kittle had a pretty good game, 5 receptions, 78 yards. The other side, my offensive Rookie of the Year candidate in pick, Jordan Addison, 7 receptions, 123 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's exactly the production you need when a guy like Justin Jefferson is not playing for you. That's a guy who can be your solid number 2 receiver of the future, lining up alongside Jefferson. And if you're a Vikings fan, you're really excited to watch that because Kirk looked pretty decent this game. He threw for 378 yards. And if their passing game can get it going, who's to say they can't be right back in the playoff mix?
I mean, yeah, especially with Jay Jettas coming back soon. This Minnesota Vikings team can string out a couple more wins, especially they have a very winnable game. I don't like saying that, but they have a very winnable game next week where they can go right back to 500, and now they're right back in maybe even the wild card, depending on what happens.
Yeah, I mean they are the 8 seed right now. They're 3-4. And the Bucks are sitting at 3-3 right now as a 7 seed. So all it takes is a Vikings win and a Bills win for the Vikings to be in the playoffs, which is crazy because it's right now their season has been a real disappointment. But that can turn around right away, and they got to just start kicking it into high gear because now they're in a playoff race.
They really are. So if you're a Vikings fan, get ready because Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson are still on the same team.
Yeah, and
Can't forget about that.
That's crazy to say for the future. So
yeah, because they're both they're so young.
Yeah, true. We forget that Jefferson's only, 24?
Yeah, around there.
Yeah, it's insane.
Maybe 25.
It's insane.
26 most.
Yeah, I don't think he's 26 yet.
I don't think he is.
But still,
I think
being
24,
under
25.
25, I mean,
yeah.
being the best receiver in the league at 25,
Crazy.
Just
crazy. So that wraps it up for the weekly recap. But now, sadly, we have to go to the weekly picks, which I have been absolutely horrible on this year. Charles, you want to say the stats for this week and the total?
Yeah. So not a good week for me or Gavin this week. Our overall records are I'm sitting at 72-34. Gavin's sitting at 63-43. Last week I went 6-7. Gavin went 4-9. This was probably our worst week of the whole season so far. So, but with that being said, I still gained 2 games on Gavin this week. So pretty good for me right now. I'm winning by 9 games with the picks, which I did not expect. I'm going to tell you right now, I did not think I'd be up by 9 games. A lot of season left, though. We're not even halfway through the year, so
I can still come back.
Yeah,
I've been saying that every
Gavin's
week.
Gavin's got a lot of time to come back, but shorter and shorter. Every time they were talking about it, you have less and less time to make it up.
Because as each week progresses, we know what each team's going to look like. So I think
that's true. We have a little bit of a better idea right now
of
what teams look like, how we think the games are going to go. So I think we're going to have a lot of similar picks this week with. It's not a great week. It's a lot of bad teams playing good teams. There's only a few swing games this week. So, Gavin, you want to start us off with the Thursday night game?
Yeah, so the Thursday night game this week is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to visit Buffalo. And in this game, I have the Bills. I have a great bounce back win. Josh Allen puts up MVP numbers. Stephon Diggs proves why he's still a top 3 receiver in the league. I have a good win for the Bills.
Yeah, I have the Bills winning too. If we don't win this game, I have no clue what we're doing, and somebody needs to go or do something. I don't know. We need to do something. I don't really know. We have to win this week. I have the Bills.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go Bills.
Next week, the New Jersey Jets are going to visit the New Jersey Giants.
Yeah, they don't have to leave their locker room.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's great.
So I have the Jets in this game.
I just switched my pick. I originally had the Jets. Now I have the Giants. I'm going to root for my guy, Tyrod. That Tyrod speech that we had earlier kind of got me going a little bit. I have the Giants in this one. But, Gavin, I want to hear your thoughts. So they share a stadium, right?
Yep.
Do you think for a game like this, right, I know the Giants are the, quote, home team, but do you still think that the Jets should have their end zone? Like, do you think there should be a Jets end zone?
Ooh, that's a great question. I'm going to answer this.
Or do you think it should just be Giants?
So if the Giants are wearing their throwbacks, which I don't think they are.
No, they're not.
But if they were, I'd say if it's a throwback jersey game or something like that, that should be where the end zone should sit at.
Okay.
Because it only has an NFL logo in the middle, I think, for this game. Right?
Well, okay, so they actually switched that this year. Both teams now have their logos in the middle now. So I was going to say that too. Would they change it to NFL in the middle? Bring that back?
I don't know.
Because I don't think you can have a Giants logo in the middle and then have a Jets end zone. That would just look stupid.
No, yeah. I think for this game, you should go NFL in the middle, one end zone, one end zone.
I think that'd be really cool.
That'd be really cool, but they're not going to.
I understand why they're not doing it.
Yeah, I understand too.
It'd be pretty cool if they did.
It'd be so
Same with
cool.
the Rams and Chargers
because these teams don't play each other too much.
No, it's every 4 years.
Yeah,
could be 2.
Could be 2,
but
more
most
likely
gonna
every
be 4. Anyway, Jags at Steelers is the next game. I got the Jags in this one.
I do too, but the Steelers got a great win. I wouldn't be surprised if the Steelers won this game.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly was going to say that too. I don't think this is a crazy pick if you pick the Steelers in this game. I would say they probably have around, 40% chance to win, somewhere around there. A little bit less than half. But Steelers are the 5 seed right now, sitting at 4-2. Big game for them. They're only half a game behind the Ravens, only half a game behind the Jags. So big game for the Steelers here, but we both got Jags in this game.
Yes, we do. So going on to a NFC East matchup, the Eagles, who just played the Commanders a couple weeks ago, will visit them now. And I have the Eagles in this one.
Yeah, I have the Eagles too.
I don't see it being a close game like it was last time.
Commanders
either.
don't look as good as they did when they played the Eagles the first time.
Exactly.
I'll say that. That's simple as that.
Yeah, absolutely. Going on to the Rams visiting the Cowboys. Who do you have for this one?
As much as I really want to just pick the Rams for whatever reason, because I have a feeling they are going to put up some points in this game, I'm going with the Cowboys. But I want to put this out there. I do think the Rams have a legit shot of winning this game.
Yeah, I was in the same boat, but I'm still going to go Cowboys here. Coming up to a big matchup for both teams, really.
It really is. Me and Gavin were talking about this. This is the Vikings at Packers game. Vikings sitting at 3-4, Packers sitting at 2-4. And you got to think, whoever loses this game, they're falling down those standings. More likely the Packers, if they lose this game, better chance that they miss the playoffs.
Yes, absolutely.
Than if the Vikings lose this game. But at the same time, divisional game nonetheless. These teams hate each other. Should be good atmosphere at Lambeau. I'm excited to watch this game.
Yeah, so who do you have?
I have the Packers in this game.
I do too.
Yeah.
I mean, at Lambeau, I wish this was later in the year because I love when the Vikings come to visit, when they play in their nice little cool dome and they have to play in a real man stadium.
It's tough because, the Vikings obviously beating the Niners last week doesn't, make this pick really make any sense considering that the Packers lost the Broncos. But something about these divisional games, whoever is home, I don't want to say tends to win, but has the upper hand for sure because the home field advantage in divisional games is unreal.
Yeah, and the Packers haven't been home in 3 weeks of football. They went to Vegas, had a bye week, and now they went to Denver. So that's been 3 weeks that Lambeau hasn't had a game. So you best believe everybody in town will be there.
Yeah, that's true. Those fans are going to be rocking, and the Vikings are going to be. It's going to be a really tough test for the Vikings, honestly,
and for the Packers.
The Packers know that their season is potentially on the line, so
yes.
they got to put it all out there.
Yeah,
both of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a must-win game for both teams. I still have my Packers on top. Next game is a game that I don't think anybody on the whole earth cares about. The Falcons at the Titans.
Yeah, and the storyline coming out of this game is the Titans going to go with a dual quarterback system in this game. They're going to play both Malik Willis and Will Levis, which we talked about, only if Ryan Tannehill can't go, but trending towards the fact that he might not be able to. I actually don't really want to see him play in this game because I want to see how they're going to work both these quarterbacks out.
Too.
And I want to see Will Levis in a game.
I really do. Really bad. And another storyline of this game is the Titans are wearing their Oilers jerseys.
They are, yeah. I'm really excited for that too. They're going to be at home, but at the same time, I'm picking the Falcons in this game.
I am too.
They need a win. They need a win worse than the Titans, and the Titans just aren't good.
Yes. Plain and simple.
Yeah. Simple as that. So Falcons getting a win in this game. I wouldn't be surprised if the Titans win, just because of how inconsistent the Falcons are. But I think we both got Falcons in this game.
Yep, absolutely. So moving on to a matchup where you do not care for either of these teams.
Neither of them, and I'm going Dolphins here, and I'm just going to leave it at that, not say anything else.
I'm going Dolphins after a big bounce back win here. I don't see the Patriots able to stop any of the Dolphins players. I know they had a terrific win last week. Absolutely storyline.
Yeah, they had a great win last week. It was an amazing win for them. I'm glad that was their Super Bowl.
But with that being said, Dolphins are getting on top of this one. Going on to the Saints at the Colts. I'm going to go the Colts here.
It's a former Super Bowl matchup right here. We saw an onside kick in that Super Bowl. Shout out to Pat McAfee for playing in that Super Bowl.
And Ian Kennedy for
being a Colts fan. I'm going Saints in this game. This is the first time I'm picking against the Colts in a few weeks, actually. So,
yeah.
Full fun
and this
fact
is my first time in a few weeks I've picked the Colts.
Oh, wow. That's actually a very interesting stat right there, Gavin.
Yeah. So I see Gardner Minshew, been playing well. I see him, and I see Derek Carr, and I see him. So here we go, Colts.
I think he's going to have a bounce-back game. That's why I'm picking
I can see
him.
that.
I think Kamara's going to have a really good game again. I think even though with everything they got going on.
I don't know, because the Colts have a famous man. His name's E.J. Speed. So
E.J. Speed has been playing. He actually has been playing really well, even though we make fun of him a lot. It's just a little inside joke with our friend group with E.J. Speed. It's just because we thought he was a made-up player because our friend Ian started talking about him. We thought he was fake, and he's turned out to be balling right now. So shout out to E.J. Speed.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have the Colts in this one. Shout out Ian Kennedy.
Yeah, I have the Saints for whatever reason, but yeah, I don't know. Something about the Saints this week. Got them.
So moving on to the 2 rookie 1 and 2 pick quarterbacks, Texans at Panthers.
I will be watching this game.
I will be too.
I will be watching this game, and I will be picking the Texans first of all.
I will be too.
But not going to say that this is a game that the Panthers could legit win. They're both coming off bye weeks.
It would be really cool if
They're both coming off bye weeks, which is very rare that both teams are coming off a bye. So I guess an even playing field here. They're in Carolina.
Speaking of, there are no teams on the bye.
Yeah.
Here we go, red zone.
Here we go, red zone. Yeah. No teams on a bye this week. This is very rare to have even 2 teams playing against each other after a bye. And then in the middle of the season, week 8, having no teams on a bye. I love it. Personally.
I love it.
So
absolutely.
I mean, load up week 7 with 6 teams on a bye. That's fine. Give me those 13 games, but give me the 16 games in week 8.
Absolutely. So, yeah, got the Texans here. You do too.
I do. Yeah, I have the Texans too.
A game that's supposed to be pretty good. The Browns are playing in Seattle. I still have Seattle.
I still have Seattle too, but I was very close to picking the Browns.
I was too.
But I don't think if PJ Walker plays, I don't think he can do it again, unfortunately. And I don't think that the Browns can put up that many points again.
Yeah, I completely agree. But I also wouldn't be surprised if their defense got clicking again.
That'd be pretty nice because Myles Garrett has been playing unreal. Unblocked kick in that game. We didn't even mention that. That was crazy. But yeah, the Browns they gotta string together a few wins there, but we both got Seahawks in this game. The next game up here is Bengals at Niners.
Could be a game of the week.
Could be game of the week.
Potential game of the week.
Every time we say that there's a game of the week, it turns out to be one of the worst games of the week. So
that's why we're saying potential.
We're saying potential game of the week because we want this to be a really good game. I have the Niners.
I have the Bengals here.
You're going Bengals in this one.
So I don't see the Niners losing 3 games in a row. But Joe Burrow, man, coming off a bye, getting a little healthier. He's got his man Chase. 9 + 1 = TD. You know.
Yeah, and I mean, I was really thinking about picking the Bengals too, but just for the simple fact, I don't think the Niners lose 3 in a row. I'm gonna go Niners, and they're at home.
Yeah.
So.
But I think that's why the Bengals win because they have a little chip on their shoulder now.
Yeah.
Because everybody's gonna be predicting the Niners because they can't lose 3 in a row. Oh yeah, they can, and they're going.
They
to.
definitely could,
and they're going to.
And this is a good Bengals team too. I mean, people forget. I mean, they're
back.
They haven't started off the season well, but right now, I mean,
just like last year,
they're sitting at 3-3.
Same
story as
last year.
2 of their losses came in the division, so they're playing pretty well out of the division. They're 3-1 out of the division, if you can do that math right. But I guess we both got Niners, or I have Niners in this game. Gavin,
I have Bengals.
Should be a really good game.
Let's go, Joe.
I think this is one where you can maybe get the popcorn ready.
I would say
maybe put it in the microwave,
but don't click start.
Yeah, don't click start yet. Don't click the popcorn button yet.
No,
just put it in there. If it's a good game, then click it. Get
if it's a good game, at the end of halftime,
get it ready for the second half.
Yeah, get it ready for the second half.
The next game we got here is Chiefs at Broncos. I'm assuming you have Chiefs.
Oh God, Chiefs by a mile.
It should be a blowout. We also every time we say a game is a blowout, though, it's also a close game. So who knows here what we're doing to these games?
Yeah, they're going to Mile High, so.
Yeah, I still have the Chiefs regardless. I hope the Broncos come out with this win, but
that'd be cool.
I don't think it's possible.
Hey, by the way, I didn't really say his name earlier, but Mr. Unlimited.
Mr. Unlimited.
So
he had that win.
Yeah, we'll see if he's unlimited this week.
Probably not. He's going to be very limited this week against the Chiefs. The next game we got here is the Ravens at the Cardinals. I have the Ravens, even though this Cardinals team is going to put up a fight.
I have the Ravens, but I think the Cardinals will only lose by like 10 or 17 most.
Only 17.
Well,
that's crazy.
I know, but I see it realistically.
It is
being
a 5-2 team against a 1-6 team. So realistically, the Ravens, especially,
they should win.
They should win this game, but
I see the Cardinals putting up a fight, a little bit of a fight.
It'd be nice. It'd be
cool.
fun. I mean, I'm a big fan of close games. So
yeah, same here.
If the Cardinals can pull this one out somehow against another AFC team, I'd be fine with that. But with that being said, I have the Ravens.
I do too. The Sunday night game.
What
are we doing?
What a thriller for the Sunday night
Potential Super Bowl matchup.
Bears at Chargers. Wow. What a game we got here. That was not a shot at the Chargers at all. That was more about the Bears.
Yeah.
Even though the Chargers sitting at 2-4 right now.
Hey, that's my AFC team, and I have them winning at home, at Sunday Night Football, or at Sunday Night. You know what I'm trying to say, guys.
On
Chargers
Sunday
get
Night Football at home.
Yes.
Chargers win. I have the Chargers too. They should win. If not, what are we doing? Last game of the week right here. another. I mean, what are we doing these primetime games? We're putting the Raiders in every primetime game.
This is horrible.
We
This
got-
is absolutely horrible.
We got Raiders at Lions here. Good for the Lions getting their first Monday night game since 2018.
That's a stat.
That's
right
what
there.
Joe Buck said last night.
That is a stat
Yeah.
right there.
So I mean, good for the Lions right there, especially being at home. I'm
Like for that
excited
Lions
because
team.
that's going to be a good atmosphere, and the Lions are going to steamroll
And get
the Vegas Raiders
and
this
get a
week.
great bounce back win.
Yep, it would be a very good bounce back win because I mean, that's a game just like kind of how the Dolphins. That was a good game to lose against the Eagles. Probably a good game for the Lions to lose out of conference, on the road. Tough game for them. Kind of a tough matchup. Now you got Monday night at home. Can't mess this one up, especially against a lackluster Vegas team. Expect the kneecaps to be bit. Expect the Lions to be rolling in this game.
I like that reference, Charles. I like that.
Shout out to MCDC. That's my
Lions
guy.
are getting the win.
That's my guy, man.
The Lions are getting the win here, and they will move on, and they will be 6-2.
Hopefully, that'd be nice.
If they lose,
It's my honesty team.
if the Lions lose, I will shave my head.
Really?
No, I'm just kidding, guys. I'm not shaving my head. I love my luscious locks.
Wow. Right on.
Anyways, I think that's gonna about wrap it up
That's
today.
gonna wrap it up right there. But I'm gonna remember that, Gavin.
I said I was kidding, so it's on
All right.
record.
All right.
Unless you edit it out later.
Probably not. I'm gonna leave that in now. Thank you guys for listening. Really appreciate all the support. Let us know what you guys want in the comments below. Any more content? We got NBA starting tomorrow as we're recording
Super
this.
hype.
So
Super
excited. NHL already started. We got the what are they calling it? The face-off frenzy, frozen frenzy. I think they're calling it. They're playing. Every team is playing tonight. First time they're doing a little red zone type of thing with Buchagros there. He's great. Look out for that if you're listening to this on Tuesday night. Thanks guys for listening. We got a lot more content coming. Make sure you follow us on Instagram
At Out of Bounds Podcast with a dot in between every single word.
Yes, there is, Gavin. Thank you guys. Have a great day.
Have a day.